We have a brand new 2024 Ford F-150, and in this video I'm going to show you all the design details both in the base, the Tremor, and the Raptor, and show you what is new in the design from a front, side, rear, and also the interior. But before we do that, there is a lot to cover here. So I want to jump straight into the spec and tech from this article from Car and Driver. I'm going to show you the regular F-150 and then also the changes that is made to the Raptor. So the 2024 Ford F-150 pickup updated to focus on hybrids and tech. The iconic truck now offers a head-up display, bigger standard screens, a new innovative tailgate design, and more driver assist features, and you can still get it with the 400 horsepower V8 if you want to, and who doesn't want to do that? So let's have a look at what's going on here. On the pricier trims, the headlights are bordered by new LED running lights that combined with a boxy grille. You can see that here, how much boxier this is. I thought the 2021 model was boxy enough, but I really like what Ford did with this design. More on that in a minute. The lower end models have a coast-to-coast grille that fully envelopes the headlights in a wide rectangular unit, and that is this unit that you can see right here. The tailgate and bumpers were also redesigned, and in the appearance package, the blacks out the trim is now offered on more variants. That's what I want on my F-150, have everything blacked out with some very cool LEDs in the front end. The F-150 also wears a revised version of the classic blue oval, so we have a brand new logo for the 2024 F-150, simplified with bigger and bolder white lettering. The F-150 ditches the base 3.3 liter V6, and instead you now get an EcoBoost 2.7 liter V6 becomes the entry-level engine. And this one has 325 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. That is the base engine in an F-150 these days. It sounds pretty good to me. Ford, as I said, continues to offer the 5 liter V8 with 400 ponies as well. Ford hasn't officially released pricing here yet, but the company announced that the Power Boost will now start at the same price as the gas-only 400 horsepower EcoBoost 3.5 liter. With 570 pound-feet of torque, the hybrid has the highest horsepower and torque figures in the lineup. Of course, not counting the 700 Raptor R. The interior looks to be pretty similar to what we have in the 2021 model. And the thing is, I feel like the 2021, I just made a video on that. I feel like that just came out, but Ford has been busy to redesign the F-150 in a very, very good way. So you have a 12-inch touchscreen and a 12-inch gauge cluster as standard. And for the first time, you now have head-up display in the F-150 as well. Now have a look at this. Ram has something like this. I know GMC has and Chevy has this very complex tailgates. So now Ford is jumping on this as well, and they call this the Pro Access tailgate, and it features a gate in the center that can open independently to 3 preset angles: 37 degrees, 70 degrees, and a full 100 degrees, and it looks pretty good. The reason they do this is so you don't have to lean over to get whatever you want out of the truck. You can just open it like a door. The Pro Access tailgate standard on the King, Ranch, and Platinum, and optional on the Lariat and the Tremor. I really like what they did with the Tremor here. I'm going to show you exactly what they did. But first of all, this article, again, from Car and Driver, I'm going to link both of these down in the description if you want to go and check this out. So this is the F-150 Raptor. Ford is updating the Raptor for 2024 with new headlights. You can see them right here. You have the main headlight down here, daytime run lights around it, and a few new features. The V6 powered Raptor and supercharged V8 Raptor R models will continue. It has revised headlight design and adds options including new shocks and a modular front bumper, along with new exterior colors and revised graphics. Ford also hinted that they might bump up the 700 horsepower of the Raptor R with its 5.2 liter V8, but nothing is confirmed yet, but probably that's going to happen. New units are meant to improve rebound control. We're talking about the shocks here, which Ford says will help with high-speed desert running, Baja runs, and on-road ride quality. And all of these new features are available on all Raptor models with 37-inch tires. So I think that's a pretty good option to get if you get all these new features in it. The color palette expands to include shelter green, which I think looks so cool. It has this almost militaristic futuristic style to it, and there are new hood graphics available as well. No pricing yet, but the current Raptors start the base at $78,720, and the Raptor R comes in at $109,295, and we expect those prices to rise just a little bit. But with that said, let's jump in to Photoshop and let's have a look at the new F-150 and compare it to the 2021 model year. As I said, it feels like I just made the video on the 2021, but here we are. We have a brand new F-150. This is of course, not a brand new, it's a facelift, but I think what they did here is absolutely fantastic. So here we have the base right here. The old ones are going to be up top, and then you have the new ones down here at the bottom. We have the base, the Tremor, and then of course we have the big brother, the Raptor, all the way to the right. First of all, let's have a look at the base one and what's new here. So you can see that it got a lot more boxy, as they said in the article. For example, the grille, we still have this gorgeous cut line up top, and this is the limited trim. I do like how this LED in the 2021 model continues to have a connection to the bumper LED. So it feels like this is one single LED that is hidden a little bit by this piece of bodywork, looking really nice. And then you have a clear bumper and separation between the lower half of the graphics and the upper half. And here you have the old logo. So let's have a look at the new logo and what's going on here. You can see that this logo here is more flat, and thankfully they offer this blackout package, which this F-150 2024 has. And I think it looks so good to have the grille blacked out, and also in red. It gives it a more sporty look. But remember what I said about this LED, how I like that it continues into the bumper? That also continues in the 2024 model. They just redesigned it a little bit. So we have a straight line here now, another straight line that goes parallel with this top piece up here, and then you can see how it just dips down, straight down into this bumper piece of LED that now has a 90-degree angle to it at the bottom. But other than that, it's very similar to the previous 2021 model year, but I think the changes that they made are really good changes. For example, we don't have this angle that you can see up here in housing the fog light down here. Now instead, we have a straight 90-degree LED. We also have just a simple rectangle to house this specific feature. Beautifully done by Ford. And we also have this angle being 90 degree instead of having this angle in the lower section in the base F-150. So having a look at the Tremor, and I really like here as well what they did, because this looks so much better than the previous one, which I thought was a beautiful looking truck. It still is. I do like the orange graphics that we have in the Tremor, specifically this piece that goes in the grille and then continues. So we have a physical piece that is just a trim piece in the grille that has a connection to the light and graphics in the headlights. And that is a very cool feature specifically for the Tremor. We still have the same cut line up top like we have in the base models, continues with the LEDs going down in the bumper right there, orange tow hooks as you can see. But have a look at the new one. So this housing for the key graphics in the front end of this Tremor just looks so good, because have a look at how deep in this sits now. We have this chamfer up top going in, creating this feeling that the eyeballs are sitting way in the deep inside of the face of the new Tremor, and it looks very cool with the blacked out graphics that we have, this boxy framing for the key graphics in the front end. You also have this optional winch here, proper skid plate in the bottom, simple fog lights down low, and of course this black graphics in combination with the white exterior and the orange trim pieces in the middle. This is a gorgeous spec for the Tremor, having it like this with the white and the orange pieces. You can see now, instead of having just a single line in the middle of the grille, we now have two lines, almost a rectangle going right here in the middle with the new logo, and then having this same style that we have here connecting the graphics in the grille to the headlight graphics. That continues in the 2024 model, but it looks a lot more modern. Having this chamfer here, for example, we have a tiny chamfer that houses this LED in the middle, and it feels like a much stronger, bigger LED I'm not even sure if this was an LED in the 2021 model. This might just have been a sort of reflector light inside, but here you can clearly see that this is all lit up, and we also have the big chiseled headlight unit right behind it. It looks very aggressive and super cool. I would probably just switch out these wheels and have them be a little beefier, a little bit more off-road looking than what we have here. Now, looking at the Raptor, not a lot of changes in for the Raptor. For example, the lower section, here's the 2021 model. This is the modular bumper, I believe, and you have the same modular bumper, but in a new design here for 2024. Love the fog lights, simplistic, almost functional design, and have a look at the air that this got. This is properly flying in this photo, and I love that, and I do believe, I could be wrong, but I do believe that these are the 37-inch tires. And of course, in the middle, now these images are flipped, as you can see, because I want to have a continuity between these photos. So the logo, we don't have the new Ford logo. For the Raptor, of course, we need to have the Ford letter stamped out in the middle to make it a proper Raptor. But we still have the new headlight units. So instead of having these angles, we now have a very static, industrial, almost military style for these new headlights, and I think it looks fantastic. Of course, with the so-called Raptor lights or positioning lights in the middle, because this is wider than, I believe, 80 inches, which means that you do need to have these lights in the center. So that was the changes for the front end. Let's have a look at the side view, and I also want to talk about the interior in just a minute and show you what's new there. So the side view, not really a lot going on here when it comes to changes for the 2024 model. What I love about the F-150 though is that they've kept this design right here. So you see the greenhouse, this up angle in the very end, then it dips down, and what it makes it feel like when you're driving this F-150 is feels like you're sitting very high up. But the reason for that is that the glass goes all the way down to this point, and it gives you a very good angle down here, where when you're sitting inside and driving and seeing what if you're, for example, on an off-road trailer, you want to see where the tires and wheels are. This probably has all kind of cameras these days, but I think it's a good idea to have this dip, and it also gives this F-150 sort of a key identity. You can tell that this is an F-150 just by looking at this section, because we have this dip in the greenhouse. Other than that, not a lot of new stuff here. You can see the new headlights from a side view, and also the new taillights that we have right here, looking super, almost robotic compared to the old taillights. I did really like these old taillights as well, because they have a clean look to them. This is the platinum trim that we're looking at here, the 2021 model year. We have this nice LED going around it, very simplistic, nothing too crazy, but here it feels like the boss said to the taillight designers, go and have some fun, create something cool with the new taillights of the 2024 F-150. I think that's exactly what they did here, because we have similar style to what we have in the front end, a lot more chiseled and simplified LEDs. I'm not sure if this is actually simpler than the old one, but it looks cooler. I do, however, wish that these taillights extended all the way down to this point to have a longer piece. So we have these pieces now being almost the same length, creating a bit of a static feel instead of having these stick down. And here you can also see this new tail gate, which opens like a door, which I think is a pretty cool idea. And what I like about this compared to the Rams, for example, the Ram has a cut line going here, so it's off center, and it's always annoying to me when I see that, because you have a cut line that sits off center in the rear end. Here, it looks like these two lines are completely centered, so you have a symmetrical rear end. And what I love about Ford's F-150s in general, specifically the Tremor, not the base, but the Tremor and the Raptor, is that we still have the dual exhaust pipes symmetrical in the rear end, not here, as I said, in the Limited or Platinum. It just sticks out here on the side. It looks a little weird to me. I want to have them as we have on the Tremor and the Raptor, like that. Last but not least, let's check out this new interior, and there is really not a lot of changes to the interior, which I think is totally fine, because the 2021 still looked very modern in its layout. We have a nice housing, as you can see, for the gauge cluster. I do believe this is a 12.3-inch gauge cluster. You have a solid stack of center console in the middle, looking industrial, exactly like you want in a pretty big truck like the F-150. You don't want to have two organic shapes, not on the exterior. You don't want to have it in the interior either. And I think Ford has done a fantastic job just updating these interiors with some very, very basic tweaks. Now, I think this is a great job by the Ford design team. I wish I would have seen some new sketches, because every time Ford drops a new model, they always have very cool design sketches, but I couldn't find any of the facelifted 2024. However, I do look forward to seeing these out on the streets.